Good one.
Yeah.
Take two.
What is up, you guys? How's everybody doing today? Welcome to Will Drum for Food, the rantings of a perhaps slightly intoxicated bad man. I had about 36 chicken wings before I started this stream, and I've had a couple beers. I've had a couple, just a couple. I went to the gas station, and I decided this whole time I've been lying to myself. So I bought an 18-pack instead of a 12-pack. So super excited about tonight's stream. We've got Beats by Jay in the house. Yes, the great Jason Ozant is here with me tonight. And I just thought I would talk a little bit about what I am thinking about doing as a direction as far as this show goes. Obviously, Will Drum for Food was the whole rantings of an overcaffeinated man or whatever, where I would talk and yap about whatever was on my mind. I am not going to do that for this show. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this more of an interview-based show because, again, I told people a while back, I know people that know people that know people that know people. So I'm hoping possibly I could get some somewhat pseudo, just, you know, some other musicians on here, because I actually do, I'm not lying, I really know some people that were in some like kind of famous bands at one point, so I would like to get them on the show, and obviously all the other guys who are on YouTube, I'd like to get them on the show. Let's do a little roll call, see what we got here tonight. Uzi Boo Boo Doo Doo is in the house. He's kind of famous. I'd like to get him on the show too. I'd like to talk about how he does his videos, because dude has seriously got the best videos in the community. Johnson Drummer is here. Johnson Drummer, what's up, man? All classic drum covers. Tony, how you doing, my friend? Who else we got? Mikey V. Mikey V is another one. I think Mikey V has some of the best videos in the community. I really, really, truly believe that. His videos are fantastic, and he always has like really good information. His videos, production's great. I mean, they look great. Who else we got? Jeff Drums, 2112 Drums. Richard Stewart, who is chilling in East Central Florida. How you doing, my friend? Do I get this radio voice going? I don't know. I've been working on the radio voice, so I've been working on it. So, without further ado, this man needs no introduction. He is a Joe Becky drums artist, and he likes Jack Daniels. Ladies and gentlemen, Beats by Jay. Jay, how you doing, my friend?
Oh my God! How do you come back from that? I like Jack Daniels. It's true, but
you do like Jack Daniels. I mean,
well, who doesn't?
Well, I only like it chilled. I'm kind of a ninny that way. I can't drink it warm, dude. It gives me heartburn. Really.
You're a whiskey snob, is what you are.
Really, it gives me seriously, it gives me really, really bad heartburn. Any kind of whiskey, I can't just do it anymore. I'm like, once I hit 40 or 35. It was like 35 because I was out on the road and we would do drink massive amounts of Jameson and Red Bull and Jaeger bombs and all those things, and ever since then, my old digestive system just doesn't like that. So how you doing, man? How's it going?
I'm doing well. Yeah. You know, I'm still getting over this crud that kind of took me over at the beginning of my vacation, but the good news is I'm getting over it, so good things lie ahead.
Good. Glad to hear it. How's the studio going? I mean, we're all looking for have you done your first video in a new place yet? Or all the ones you
Of course I have. Are you not paying attention?
I don't know, man. I can't remember. I'm in my own world here. I'm in my own home improvement nightmare right now. I mean,
so every video I've done from the 5-Finger Death Punch video on is in the new studio.
Okay, so you are up and running. All the lights are up.
I know that the new studio doesn't really look any different than the old studio. I get it, but there's a method to my madness. Okay, it's called consistency.
Well, you're doing well. You're doing well. You do well at the consistency thing.
Oh, I missed the cough button.
Yeah, you do. The Euchre. We were talking about Bob Euchre before this, and he was apparently a master of the cough button. He would be broadcasting a game, and he'd hit the cough button and go just a bit outside. He'd hit the cough button and go, "Hey, look at the knockers on that chick right there." And they tried the corner and missed. So, I guess, where do we go from here? I mean,
hey, it's your show.
Yeah, well. By the way, how's everything sound? Is everything coming through okay? Am I loud enough? Is Jay loud enough? Who we got here? Sling On Drummer, how you doing, my friend? Jeff Drums is here. And then Uzi's here. We already talked about Uzi.
Uzi's the man.
Uzi is the man. Did you watch his Whiplash cover?
Yes, I did.
It was fantastic, man.
It was freaking amazing, dude.
It was fantastic.
Uzi's the freaking man. And I agree 100%. He is making the best freaking videos in the community right now. And that's not to take anything away from anybody else in the community, seriously. But this guy has got some imagination going on up here, and that's, woo.
No.
Anyway.
The Shining one he did. Oh God, it was so good. It was so good. I think I mentioned this last week, but he busts through the door and goes, "Here's Uzi." He's nuts. He's nuts. He completely insane.
I love the Spinal Tap cover where he blew up at the end. That was just right.
Yeah, that was genius.
That was on par.
That was genius too. It was funny is there's actually in the movie Spinal Tap. Where they're doing sound check, and when Smell the Glove arrives, and David, Smell the Glove is here, and Janine, you see Janine in the back, goes, "Hello, Janine." That actually is the venue they're playing is in Milwaukee, and it's called Shank Hall. And a guy opened up a club in Milwaukee and called it Shank Hall after that. So,
no way.
Yeah. So when Spinal Tap did their reunion thing, it was like back in 92, 93, right around there when Break Like the Wind came out.
Yeah.
They did a press thing at Shank Hall in Milwaukee. Yeah. So that's a little bit of Spinal Tap history for you. So, Jay, we got to go back to the beginning. When did you start playing drums? I mean, how old were you when you started playing?
Wow. Do you want to know when I started having the passion for drums or when I actually started playing them?
When you actually started playing them.
I was probably around 16, 17.
Okay, so you started a little later than some guys did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you weren't in school band or anything like that?
No, because, and this is going to sound like I'm, totally chapping on my parents or something like that. But they were those parents that were like, no drums in this house. No, we're not going to listen to that crap. So, unfortunately, I had that to deal with. But I found ways, I found friends who had drums or a friend of a friend of a friend who had some drums that I could go jam on every now and then. So it worked out. Oh, good old back in the, it was the late 80s, early 90s, you're jamming on keyboard drums. Remember those?
Oh, I remember those,
yeah. Everybody knows
Casio.
those.
Casio.
Hell yeah.
My first band, Guardian Angel. Our keyboard player had the Casio keyboard. And we actually, we're I don't know, same thing. We're probably like 14, 15, maybe 16 years old. And my very first band, we didn't do any cover songs. We wrote all of our own songs. Well, one guy wrote them all, and none of the songs were actually very good. But I got that going for me. It's like my very first band was actually an entirely original band. So All right. So you were about
Still
50.
impressive.
It is. It is. You haven't heard the songs though. They weren't good. They weren't.
Okay.
The songs were not good. You're okay. So you're 15, 16 years old. Did you start playing in bands right away, or did you just like find? Obviously, you at some point you started playing in bands, correct?
I could kind of call it a band.
Yeah.
There was this group of friends that I had that all of us were like, hey, we want to do me. I'm going to be the drummer and this guy's going to be the guitarist and this guy, blah, blah, blah. When you're 14 or 15 and you're like, we're going to be a big rock and roll band and all that stuff. So, and in a certain way, a lot of that actually culminated together. This group of friends became the core of what was my first band.
Okay.
And, we did. We all, we grew together, we learned together, and we became fairly proficient at our instruments. And yeah, that was my first band that I was in. And I might be a spoiler for a question you might have asked later, but it was my only band because this band lasted from, I'd say its inception was probably somewhere in the year 1993 and all the way up until the year 2000.
So essentially you played in one band your entire career.
Yep.
That's actually amazing. I play in like 3 bands a summer.
Well, you're just a drum hole, aren't you?
Well, I am.
No,
but
I'm kidding.
No, I am. I'm a complete whore. But that is actually very impressive because most bands, especially at that age, I think like when I was 15 or 16, we went out, we played Julie Meister's graduation party, and I think we played one more party after that. And that was kind of the end of that band. And it was on to the next band where we might play like a school dance. And I never really did anything until I got out of high school, where then I started playing out quite a bit, more regularly. All right, so what did that band do? I mean, did you guys actually, you were together 10 years. I mean, you must have done something in your area. Your area is where? Like, what was home base for that band? What city?
Okay. Home base originally was Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Okay.
And we were there from, like I said, 93 until about 1998. Now, there was a period in there where I was not in that band anymore because they had decided, the rest of the band without me had decided that they were going to move to Austin, Texas, which was actually a smart move because at the time, in the mid-90s like that, Austin, Texas was a huge music scene going on right there. So, but I, being a new father with a wife, I just wasn't ready to just pack up my shit and go. I'm sorry, did I? Probably shouldn't have swore.
You can swear.
Okay, but I probably, I was just like, no, this is not what I'm going to do. Anyways, they went and I was out of the band from like 96 until the early part of 98. And in 98, I came back. And we went down to Texas. Now, to say, that we went anywhere huge would be no, never really took off or anything like that. And we recorded some stuff, we put some stuff out, and we did the best we could in Austin. We played with some bands that ended up being some pretty big names. One of the bigger names that we actually played a gig with was this Austin metal band called El Nino. And that was a fun gig. And I
remember El Nino. I do remember
that.
Now, I would assume, sorry to interrupt, but I would assume Austin's a pretty competitive music scene. It's got to be super, super competitive.
Extremely. There were a lot of really good bands rolling around that town when this went down. And so we did the thing that, like I was saying with the thing with El Nino, was there was this Austin cable access TV show that was, at the time kind of a big thing. If you got onto this, access cable TV show, people were going to see your stuff. And that was called Capsize in Austin, Texas. Yeah, that was good times. And we did our last show ever together as a band on that.
Do you have video footage of that?
I don't, but I know the guy who does, and I've been begging him, if he's out there watching for some odd reason, hello, why haven't you digitized that yet? Get it to me.
Yeah, you gotta get that. You gotta get that up on YouTube. You really,
Hell
really
yeah.
do, man. And that's pure gold. That's pure gold. How was that for a radio voice? You did internet radio too.
Yeah.
I remember hearing. I remember on a music musician, which by the way, I completely ripped off for Will Drum for Food. I don't know if I've ever told you that. I completely, blatantly stole the idea from you. I'm like, here's this guy. He likes to talk. I like to talk. I could never shut up. I could do this. I could do what he does. So
It's called a vlog. I did not invent that.
yeah, but you're not walking around with a camera like Casey Neistat, you know. But where was I? What's that?
I said I could be.
You could be. You should. You should. Maybe you'll get more subscribers. You could always buy some.
There's always that option, you know.
You can always buy subscribers. Always could buy some. By the way, I just want to address, guys, I know some of you have been clicking the notification bell. I'm sorry if you're not getting the notifications on these. Uzi, I'm speaking to you mainly. YouTube sucks. The whole subscriber thing does not matter anymore. They just kind of decide what they want you to see, and apparently they don't want you to see my videos. So.
Oh, mine too. That's everybody. And I've been pissed off on many occasions because, you know, somebody in the community that I've subscribed to and clicked the bell will have a new video out, and everybody's talking about that new video, and I'm like, well, how the hell did I not see this video? I'll even check my feed, and it's not there. So,
I think you literally have to watch every one of their videos in order to get notifications, or you have to watch like a good percentage of them, because I've noticed like if I watch somebody's channel, like Bonzoli is somebody I watch religiously. I watch pretty much every one of his videos that come out, and I always get notified when he has a video come out. Now, I've clicked the bell on a lot of channels, and I've noticed I don't get notifications on those channels. It is very, very frustrating. YouTube has to do something about this. I mean, basically, subscribers are meaningless now. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but when YouTube first started, when I first got on YouTube, like forever ago, even though I never really did covers, but it seemed like subscribers were how you got most of your reviews. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you've been doing this longer than me.
No, that was a big portion of it. Yeah.
So you got most of your reviewers through, and now it seems like if YouTube has to suggest the channel in order to get, it's a very, 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 very frustrating.
The algorithms are really weird.
The algorithm is weird. Yeah.
I don't know what their logic behind it was, but you know, if you go far back enough in my analytics, you can see where my channel was growing on a steady upcline as far as monthly views go. And then it hit this point where, and you can even check in the news and the archives about when YouTube changed their algorithms, and all of a sudden it went down, and it's been like kind of like a plateau since then, only very slow growth. You know, so I don't know. Like you said, man, there's something that needs to change, and you know, obviously it's not good enough that I say to YouTube, hey, I want to see all of this guy's videos.
Right.
They're still gonna.
That's ridiculous, because I think if you want to see somebody, well, let me rephrase that. At one point I was very, very selective on who I subscribed to. And now I just once I got involved in the community, I started subscribing to more people. I'm not saying this I'm like trying not to be like a jerk or anything, but I thought, like, if I subscribe to a channel, it's got to be somebody I really wanted to see. Like seriously, for the first, I think I got a YouTube account back in like 2010, and for the first 4 or 5 years I was on YouTube, I subscribe to like 1 or 2 channels, you know, so I can't be the only guy out there like that, you know. I'm guessing there's probably a good selection of YouTubers that are like that, where they subscribe to a channel because they really want to see the content coming from that channel. Correct me if I'm wrong, you know, but I think that's the reason people subscribe to channels.
You're not wrong. That's why I subscribe.
so
Go figure.
Imagine that. How did you get into this? Like, how did you get into this whole YouTube thing? I mean, what
By accident.
Just by accident? Yeah.
Yeah. At the time that I had started playing around with a video camera and actually recording myself playing drums for the first time ever, it was kind of one of those things, you know, it may sound a little narcissistic, but it was one of those things where you're like, I wonder what the hell I look like playing drums. So, you know, you set up a camera and you record yourself, and at the same time I'm recording on Adobe Audition at the time. And I thought, well, you know, let's have some fun with this and mix it together. And I was like, okay, this came out all right. And it's actually terrible, but at the time I thought it was pretty good.
Right.
And, you know, rather than trying to share via email, you know, you can't send huge files via email. I was like, oh, well, what's a good source so I could show this to just my friends? And that was YouTube. So I uploaded it to YouTube and, you know, said, hey, guys, check this out. What do you think? You know, how's the mix? How's the video? You know, just kind of, you know, getting feedback. You know, and I made a total of 4 videos. And I literally walked away from YouTube for 2 years. 2 years. Didn't have anything to do with YouTube. Came back just out of like a whim and saw that those 4 videos that were just meant for like 3 or 4 of my friends had turned into something like 300 subscribers. And I was like, oh, wow.
Hold on.
Maybe.
Hold on. You walked away for a year and you got 300 subscribers.
No, not a year. 2
years. 2 years. Do you have any idea how hard I worked to get to 300 subscribers? I worked my ass off.
Yeah, you know, there's a difference, though, between then and now. At the time that I did this, there was not a huge saturation in the market of people doing drum covers. Now there is.
Correct. Yeah, I understand that, too. It just sucks. I should have gotten into this a lot earlier. I didn't have the equipment, though. I didn't have the ability to, and like, when I first, like, started looking at YouTube, like, the first guy I ever saw doing drum covers was Cooper Drummer, man. It was Cooper Drummer. And I watched this, I'm like, gosh, I just don't get this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, he's a really good drummer, correct? He's better than me. I'm going to say it right now. He's a better drummer than me. So it's not like this, some like, narcissist, oh, that guy sucks or anything like that. But I don't get the appeal of Cooper Drummer. To me, he just overplays. I'd rather watch a guy play the song kind of correctly. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to play it exact, but
yeah,
at least, dude, be close. Don't play a drum solo over my favorite Rage Against the Machine song.
You know, Cooper is over the top, and I think even he recognizes that he is over the top, because I don't know if he meant it that way when he started, but that's kind of what it's become, is that, you know, if you're watching Cooper Drummer, you're going to expect all these crazy linear fills through the whole song. I mean, it's like a 4-minute drum solo. And like I said, maybe that wasn't how he planned on starting it, but that's kind of now his thing. That's his niche market, as they might say. It's not my thing. I don't.
Well, it's worked well for him. I mean, for sure, it's worked well because he was kind of like the first of the YouTube stars, drummers that I could think of would be him. You know, he was, and it's kind of moved along. Cobus too, yeah, Cobus too. And then now you got like Christina Schiano. I think she's kind of blowing up.
Big time.
Big time, yeah. But she's good, man. She really is.
She is good.
She's really good. I don't even know how you pronounce Maytal. She was one of the first ones too. You know.
Yeah, she's on that.
She's really, really good too. So it's kind of like become a shift from, like, I'm going to date myself here, but 15, 20 years ago, you got banned or you moved to Nashville and you tried to become a studio drummer. And now you don't leave your location. You sit in your basement, you make YouTube covers, and hopefully you can become successful that way. It's probably a little better way to go about it, though, too, at the same time, you know?
I don't know. How's anybody making money doing covers in YouTube?
Well, that's not what I'm saying. But you can get recognized. You know,
totally.
Can totally get recognized playing covers on YouTube and get picked up for a gig. You look at a guy like Josh Steffen. For the life of me, I cannot figure out, because he's one of the best YouTube drummers.
Absolutely.
Bar none. Josh Steffen is one of the best YouTube drummers. He's still in Peshtigo, Wisconsin. I can't figure out why nobody's picked him up for a tour. I just can't. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Maybe he needs to get out of that area, but he's popular. You would think at some point there's somebody that's going to pick him up and take him on a road, you know?
You'd think.
You would
I
think.
mean, everybody knows who he is, and if everybody in the drumming community knows who he is, then everybody in the music industry has to know who he is. So why not?
Right.
Why not? I mean, somebody needs a drummer somewhere for something. Maybe, you know, I don't know. Considering Josh's work, you know, he might have gotten that call in the past. He might have gotten the call that said, "Hey, all right, Adele's going on tour and she needs a drummer. Are you going to play the drums for Adele?" And I could seriously see Josh Steffen saying, "No."
I don't think he would get that. That's the thing, though, is I don't think he would get that call from a pop artist. I think he could realistically get a call from a band, a mid-level, you know, a Five-Finger Death Punch, or not like they're looking for a drummer, but like a mid-level metal band. I'm not talking like megastars, like Metallica or Slipknot or anything like that, you know, because they're going to go a band. Well, Metallica, Lars is never leaving that band. But a band like Slipknot, you know, where Jorgensen did leave that band. Obviously, Josh Steffen would have been a good possible replacement for something like that. But I would still think they're more on the megastar list. But something like a mid-level band, like a Five-Finger Death Punch, or, you know,
somebody,
you know,
had to have called him at some point. I don't understand. If they haven't, then something is really wrong in this world.
Maybe,
you know, because go ahead.
Maybe there's something we don't know. I don't know. It's very possible. You know, maybe he can't play with a band. It's a possibility. It really is. You know, maybe he did get an audition. I'm not saying this has happened, but it does. There are guys who just can't play with bands. You know, they can't play. They can't take a band and put it in the pocket and say, "Here, you follow me." They're really good drummers, but that's not their thing, you know. Chops guys, for example, you know.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you're right. There's got to be something there, because I refuse to believe that he hasn't been approached by anybody. You know, me, if I had been, now let's go to that hypothetical again. If I had been approached by the managers of Adele, even though I've never heard in it, well, I've heard, but I've never been an Adele fan in my life. Yeah, sign me up for that tour. I'm going.
Me too. There is zero. I have zero.
I'd be all about Adele for that tour.
I have zero musical integrity when it comes to playing a gig. If it's gonna pay, I will do anything. I've gone to gigs where, I literally played a medley from different Disney movies, and I did it with a smile on my face because at the end of the night I was getting paid $300. You know, I'm a whore. I am a whore. You know,
it's not even really a whore, man. It's doing what you love, getting paid to do what you love. What do you want to do? Go work at the freaking gas station or play the drums? Play an Adele song for a day's pay, or go to the gas station and fucking serve Cheetos?
Well,
you know,
there's something to be said for serving Cheetos. I mean, it is. It's a noble.
Okay,
it's a noble profession. It's a noble profession. You know, who's out there right now volunteer to serve Cheetos? You know, this is Trump's America.
My praise to whoever slings Cheetos, for real.
It is.
Because where would I get my Cheetos?
I don't really like Cheetos. I'm more of a Doritos guy. That's why I said it.
Anything with fake cheese dust on it is good with me.
You like the fake cheese dust?
Of course. Who doesn't?
I'm in Wisconsin.
You don't?
No, dude, I live in Wisconsin. We got real cheese here with, we drink Miller Lite too. So what does that say?
No wonder you don't have cheese-flavored Miller Lite.
There's a market right there. There we go. There we go. All right.
I like that. I am watching the chat that's going on in YouTube there. All chips matter.
All chips matter. All chips matter. Leighton L. Scott. How's he doing? He's my neighbor to the west in Iowa. Leighton, where are you in Iowa? Are you like near Iowa City or Ames, Iowa, or are you like farther west? I don't even know. I don't even know where Ames, Iowa really is. I failed geography. What am I talking about? Like where I even know where Ames, Iowa is located in the great state of Iowa. 30 minutes east of Des Moines. Okay. Well, I kind of know where Des Moines is. All right. So what else we got here? We got the Sling On drummer. Leighton L. Scott. I saw Michael Perry. Michael Perry,
Uzi Booba Johnson drummer, all classic drum covers. Yeah, all kinds of people up in here today.
Michael Perry, what about endorsements? Many people might get this instead of getting asked into a band. That's a good point. He actually makes a really good point because, well, Shiano's a perfect example. I'm almost positive she got an SJC endorsement, and I know she has a Zildjian endorsement. I would think she's probably actually making some money off YouTube doing, well, the endorsements, doing targeted advertisements. She's probably doing some clinics, I would guess, you know. I know all right, here we go again. I know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. But I'm actually I'm not lying. There is a guy from my area he played guitar in Queensryche for about, man, he was in a band about 5-6 years. And he actually told me that he made more money doing clinics than he actually did at a Queensryche show. So he would get his tour get his tour itinerary for, you know, for 2 months ahead of time, and then he would book clinics at different music stores to coincide with the tour. So if they were going to be in Chicago, he'd do a clinic in Chicago, and then the next weekend or the next day he'd do a clinic in Detroit or wherever they were. He actually made more money doing clinics than he did playing with Queensryche, which is crazy. You think about it, you know. But clinics pay really, really good. So these things outside of the normal rock star lifestyle is actually where you can start making more money, you know.
That's strange when you get down to that, man. But, you know, it kind of makes sense, too, because when you're doing a clinic, it's all about you.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And your endorsements, you know, your string endorsements. So you're sponsored by, he was sponsored by Diodario or Jackson Guitars or whatever, you know. So he would get a little kickback from that. He actually made a really, really good living. You know, he spent about 5 or 6 years in that band. And then he was able to get out, and he loves jazz. And ironically enough, this is like, well, I live in a really small town, but it's a resort town. And once he left Queensryche, he came back to this area, and he does nothing but do jazz gigs. So he obviously made some money at some point. He was able to pay off his house. You know, he lives cheaply. You know, he was able to make some sort of nest egg from those years.
It lives within his means. You know, that's smart.
That's a key. Don't buy the gold-plated helicopter. Speaking of endorsements.
And when you're doing clinics, you don't have to give Jeff Tate his cut, you know. So.
No. There was some shenanigans going on with that whole thing, too.
We know. That's why there's 2 Queensryches now.
Jeff Tate is not a popular person in the Queensryche community.
No.
Really not. You know, it's because I don't know what happened, but I think he's kind of a prima donna. Speaking of endorsements, Jason, you have a Joe Becky endorsement. How did that come about?
That was quite by accident. Also, you know, things just fall in my lap anymore these days. I don't know. My hi-hat, my Roland hi-hat went out on me. And there's a video that I might have taken down, I don't know, it may still be up, of me shooting that old hi-hat. Because it was so...
With a gun?
With a gun! With a real gun!
Oh my God, you just triggered so many people.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I got teddy bears, I've got a dark room, if you need it, we're good. No triggering, guys. No, but for real, my hi-hat went out, and man, to replace a VH12 hi-hat was going to be $750. That's the cost of that technology these days. And I had started...
Hold on. $750 for a hi-hat trigger? You're kidding me.
For a Roland hi-hat, yes.
I've bought drum sets that didn't cost $750.
Yeah, you know my pain. So I started a GoFundMe to try to raise that money because I sure as hell didn't have it. Well, I ended up having to return all the money for that GoFundMe that was donated to me because Joe Becky stepped up and said, "Hey, we're going to send you one of our hi-hats for free. Just try it out, enjoy it, let us know how you like it." Okay. So it shows up. I got the video online about me unboxing it and giving it a first test spin. And that's where it kind of started from there. I started playing that hi-hat and I got inspired because I was like, okay, I like what Joe Becky does. I'm going to buy one of their kits. I'm going to buy it. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So as I'm building it with them, and it is completely custom built, you talk with them about what you want, what kind of hardware, what kind of wrap you want on it, and so forth. So build the whole thing, and it comes down to when it's time to pay for it, and they're like, look, okay, tell you what, how about, you become one of our artists, and we're going to knock a little bit off the price here. I'm not going to talk about how much, but, we're going to knock a little off the price here. And, basically it's you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours. And hey, yeah, sounds good to me. And I do. I love my Joe Becky kit. So, and I love how good they've been to me. So this endorsement has worked out for me, I think.
All right.
It's a good relationship.
We'll get back to the endorsement. There's a question here that I want to get to before I forget. Uzi Boo Boo Doo Doo. I love saying that name. Uzi Boo. It just rolls off the tongue.
Best name.
Uzi Boo Boo Doo Doo Doo. Uzi Boo Boo Doo Doo. What inspires you to cover certain songs?
Is that meant for both of us or just me?
I think it's just you. He doesn't care. Nobody cares about me. You're the guest.
Dude, my inspiration for covers just comes on off the cuff. Seriously, I can try to make a plan and say, I'm going to do this song and I'm going to practice the crap out of it. And I'll spend a whole week practicing the crap out of that song. And then, I'll be listening to the radio or Pandora or something like that, and a song will play, and I'm like, oh, there's this song. And then, Shiny Things, I'm just totally distracted, and I go off into this other direction, and I cover that song. It's just whatever I'm feeling at that moment. And a lot of it can have to do with my mood, When I'm feeling uppity and confident and, I can take on the world, you'll see a lot of metal covers come from me. When I'm feeling kind of, I want to retreat, I want to relax a little bit, you'll see a lot of classic rock. And if I'm just really feeling adventurous, you'll see something like some pop or rap. It just depends on my mood, literally, that day. It's not something that can be planned with me. There's a total spontaneity.
Well, for me, not that anybody cares about me because you're the guest, but damn it, this is my show, so I'm going to make
it's
it about
your
me.
show.
I'm going to make this about me. God, wait. Damn it. All right, I cursed. But for me,
beat you to that.
Yeah, you did actually. So it was you first. There goes all the monetization for this show. Damn it.
Sorry.
Yeah, you screwed this up, man. Screwed this all up. For me, I do what I like to do, if that makes sense. I go out and I play gigs, and I literally hate 90% of the songs I'm playing. And so I will not, you know what? It's more like 95. More like 95% of the songs I'm playing. We'll do crap. Oh, whip and post. Dude. Oh, crap. But I hate most of the songs I play for money. So for me, this is what I do to kind of get my frustrations out, or it's something I do that I have to enjoy what I play. Excuse me. If I'm going to cover something, it has to be a song that I want to cover. I will never, ever go down and record a song just for the sake of trying to get views. It's not worth it to me. It's just absolutely not worth it to me. All right, do we have... Oh, I got to get back to the Joe Becky kit. So, sorry, I'm kind of bouncing around here. But the Joe Becky kit. This is my first time well, it's not my first time hosting. It's first time hosting a show with a bunch of Miller Lights in me. Well, last time I was... Oh, what? Dude, how much is left in that bottle?
To be fair, this is the 4th time I've drank from this bottle. So don't think I put this all away in one night, you idiots. I'm not a lush. God, if I had put this whole bottle away, you wouldn't see me like this right here. You'd see me like this.
The fourth time. Jake, where'd you go? Jake! Jay, you all right? There we go. All right.
Hi.
So, let's just hope the good people from Joe Becky are watching this right now. So the Joe Becky kit.
Well, there goes my endorsement.
Yeah, there it goes. I'm really curious about this kit because I have an e-kit. I think I've mentioned this to you in the past. My e-kit sucks. I hate it. It's kind of like having a sex with a blow-up doll. It gets the job done, but it's not that much fun. Like the whole time, you know, this isn't real. You know,
it's disturbing that you know what that's like.
I've heard.
College, man.
College, right? It's college.
Count.
It's a weird thing, but. Yours, on the other hand, it looks like something I could get behind playing. That sounded wrong, but it looks like something I could. It looks like something I could actually enjoy. It seems like it almost is like playing a real kit.
It is.
It is. Okay.
It very much is. I mean, it's a full-size kit. All they did was they took a full-size kit and they converted it and put electronic triggers inside of it. They put the piezos. And put they built the frames inside to hold the triggers and so forth. It's a full-size kit, with the exception of the kick drum. I got with the smaller depth kick drum because of the studio I was in before was so damn small that it couldn't fit a full-size like 18-inch kick drum. But now I do have that space, and I may actually consider ordering from them a full-size kick drum.
So what's the depth on the kick drum? It's just a real?
It's 12.
It's a 12. So it's a 12 by 20.
It's a 12 by 20.
A 12 by 20. Okay, which probably looks really weird. Actually, I'm guessing it probably looks kind of dumb.
It's all about the camera angles, man. It's all about the camera angles.
So are the shells like actual? Are they like real drum shells? Or are they made of like what are they made out of? I mean, are they just wood. I know they're wood, but do they buy, I get that. I get they're wood, but are they made do they buy shells from a supplier like Keller or something like that, or did they?
I have to assume so. I think so. I mean, because these are, I mean, obviously they can't be like, these are probably not going to be maple shells sitting back here, but cheaper drum shells, that they put a wrap on.
So in theory, you could slap regular heads on them and have an acoustic kit. Now,
I mean, you'd have to gut all of the electronics out of the inside of it, but yeah, you absolutely could.
Why would you want to do that, though?
Right.
So are the heads, are they similar to, here's one problem I have with the Roland heads is, and I think this is, I may be wrong, but I think this is just something with electronic kits in general. The heads are way too reboundy. I mean, are these more like a real, or is there, when you're playing it, does it still feel like you're playing an electronic kit? I guess is what I want to say. When you come down on that drum, does it have that like boing feeling to it,
It can depend on the type of head you're using. The Roland heads, yes, had that very reboundy feel. The Jabeki ones that I got definitely felt more like real heads. They were a triple ply and they were softer on the top, and they had, to me, the right bounce. And also something to keep in mind with electronic drums is that you can set the tension of those heads the same way you tune a real drum. You can just set the tension to your own taste, and it doesn't change the tune of the drum. I know that's a foreign concept for anybody who's not done e-drums, but you can loosen them if you want, less rebound, or you can tighten them if you really want it to go brrr every time you just barely touch it, So
Leighton L. Scott has a question, actually. I'm going to let you answer this because you're the electronic gum guy. He wants to know, so it is like the better, more privileged, bigger brother of a Pearl E-Pro Live? I don't really know what that means, so I'm going to let
I don't know what a Pearl E-Pro Live is.
I don't either. I don't either.
Is he talking about the Mimic?
I think he's. Are you talking about the Mimic, Leighton? I don't know because the Mimic is a crazy expensive module. I actually looked into it. I looked into it because I like I said, I have a TD11. I have a TD11 that I use for certain gigs, and my biggest gripe about that kit actually is not the size of the drums. It's not the way it feels like when you hit the hard rubber pads because it's only got the mesh head on the snare drum. My biggest gripe about that drum kit is the sounds. It's these 1990 311 Dave Matthews sounding snare drums. I can't get a freaking snare drum on that drum set that sounds decent, and for a it's kind of a toy, but it's not a toy, you know? I mean, those kits retail for $1,000, but realistically, you get them for $800 at the music store, whatever, you know? But if I'm shelling out $800 for an electronic drum kit, I want the snare drum to sound like a real snare drum. And I don't understand why Roland can't use Superior Drummers, put something like that in their modules like Pearl did with the Mimic.
Who knows? Maybe in the future they will. And you know, like the Pearl Mimic, it's using Steven Slate Drums 5, and he did answer the question saying that the Pearl ePro Live is an acoustic shells conversion to electronics. I haven't seen it, but any A to E, which is acoustic to electric conversion, is going to have the same concept. You're just adding triggers, little spongy things with a piezo underneath it that just barely touch the head, and they're going to sense the pressure on it. So, you know, I'd have to look into the Pearl. I don't know how much the Pearl costs, you know, compared to, say, a Joe Becky, or there's other companies out there that do this too. There's Pintech and, what's that? Can't think of their name. But there's lots of them. There's lots of them doing it now.
What about the cymbals? I mean, the cymbals are not, they're not rubber like the Roland cymbals, correct? These are actual metal cymbals.
Yeah, and as far as I know, Joe Becky was the first to do this. Is they took real actual cymbals and developed them and converted them into an electric cymbal by dampening them on the underside and again putting those piezos inside of them.
So it's similar to what Zildjian's doing with the silent strokes or whatever. It's similar to that. So but they do make some noise when you hit them.
Yeah.
So, all right, here's a question. Let's say you're playing a gig, right, and you have to keep the volume down. Now, the biggest problem I have is when I go play a gig and I need to keep the volume down is my cymbals. Can you actually use these as cymbals untriggered on an acoustic gig?
If you got to keep it down, no.
No.
These are way louder than the little rubber pads.
But I'm saying like something in Pete where I'm playing an acoustic drum set. Okay, so I'm playing an acoustic drum set. A lot of times I'll go out, I'll play an acoustic drum set, and I'll play with like hot rods or something like that, just to keep the cymbal wash to a minimum, because that's the loudest thing normally. I can control the volume on my snare drum. I control the volume on my kick drum, but when I hit the cymbals, it's like, you know. So
yeah.
So do these actually have a cymbal tone to them? I guess that's what I'm getting at.
No,
do they sound like cymbals?
It's just a quick clunk, you know. I mean, they're sitting right here. I could give you a sound demo.
Oh, please do. Please do. Actually, I'm curious.
Okay. I'm gonna.
You know what? Let's go through the kit a little bit too. You know, can you do that?
I can't take the camera with me.
Oh,
the camera's sitting on top of my
stupid technology.
But it's just a clunk. I'm trying to think of something to. You probably wouldn't be able to hear it much from where I'm at anyway. But it is.
You got a really nice mic, so.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a sure. This is I bought this off Amazon. It was $50, and mostly I bought it for the boom arm. This thing right here. I'm thinking about switching it out with one of my other mics, condenser mics, because I'm not super happy with this mic. It's weird. It's really weird.
It sounds good right now.
Does it sound okay? Because on the other, it sounds like it's got almost like a distorted sound to it. I think. I don't know.
The only thing I thought was weird about it when you were doing that test stream was like when you were right up on it, you sounded great, and you just moved like this far away and you couldn't hear you anymore. But it's
so
not doing
hot.
that tonight.
It's so hot though. I have to take the input down in the thing on the Mac. I don't even know what it's called. But to take the mic input down, or it would just distort like crazy. Leighton L. Scott says I should get the Soul Tones, Jeff. Leighton, I actually I'm in the middle of making the switch to Peisty.
Ooh.
Earl Bennett, God bless him. He got me to
sold
make
you on the
switch.
Peisties,
He
huh?
sold me on the Peisties. He did. I've been playing like nothing but Zildjians. It was for like forever. All I drove was Fords, and then I bought a Toyota, and I'm like, oh, this is nice. Well, all I've played my entire life is Zildjians, and then I hit a Peisty, and I'm like, wow, this is nice. This is what I've been missing that entire time.
I can't wait to hear them.
Yeah, they're great cymbals. I know Leighton is a Soul Tone endorser, so he's gotta make that claim. That's
I want to kind of address something to kind of wrap up what everybody's talking about with the eDrum sounds. You know, I don't care who you are, where you are, and where you come from. Don't ever spend the money that you need that it costs to get a damn Pearl Mimic. First of all, that's number one. Second of all, whenever you're buying a module from anybody, I don't care if it's from Roland or Alesis or Two Box, doesn't matter. You're not going to get the kind of sound quality you get if you actually buy the software of getting Steven Slate drums or Superior Drummer or Easy Drummer, which is from TuneTrack as well. But whatever the case, that's where the gold mine is. And those things, you know, you can spend, you know, what is it, $2,500 on a Pearl Mimic? Or you can get yourself a MIDI cable or a USB from your module and get Superior Drummer for $350.
Yeah.
Where's the hang up here? I don't understand how Pearl Mimic even sells a single one of those modules.
I don't either. I just out of curiosity, I asked that. Yeah, they're really, really expensive. I would never, ever spend that much money on an electronic device because, like I said, I can go out, I could buy a killer acoustic kit, especially for somebody like me who does the majority of my stuff is on acoustic drums. I'm not going to go out and shell that kind of money out of my pocket to get what essentially is like what you said is the same thing you could get off a Superior Drummer or Steven Slate drums or even BFD. Did you ever use BFD, by the way?
No, I didn't.
Nobody uses that anymore? Does anybody use that anymore? Because about 10 years ago, that was the shit. Everybody was using it.
I've heard about it. I never used it.
Yeah, because I was recording an album that was like 10 years ago, and like the guy in the engineer's like raving about BFD. This BFD is great. Like, what's up? All right, well, whatever. Just whatever you got to do to make it sound good. I don't care. You do the thing. So, all right, what kind of recording software do you use? What do you use? What is your recording process? Because I'm curious about this.
Well, to answer the first question, Reaper all the way, baby. Recording process. Well, what do you want to consider the process?
Just how do you? I assume you trigger everything, or you. What's your what? You have like an older Roland module, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
I have the old TD20.
And basically, that's just triggering. That's all that is.
Yep.
That's all just triggers. And then you do everything with what? Superior or Slate, or what do you use for drum sounds?
Both. I'm using Superior Drummer 4, or not Superior Drummer 4. That's the future, baby. I'm using Superior Drummer 2 and Steven Slate Drums 4. It just depends. You know, both of those sample packs have their own unique sound and are unique for whatever song you're doing. You know, there's certain songs that I may cover where, you know, certain samples from Slate are going to fit better, and then other songs where samples from Superior Drummer are going to sound better. So I'll kind of pick and choose between those. And then it's a matter of, you know, even when I play the song for the first time, this is the beauty of electronic drums, is that all I have to do is just set up a basic kit. I don't have to sit there and think about what snare sounds I want just yet. I can go back there and play the song, record it, just a generic kit, and then come back in post after it's recorded and decide, you know, that snare, I'm not liking that snare, you know. Maybe instead of, you know, instead of using the Tama Bell Brass, I'll use the Black Beauty here instead. And with a click of a button, I can
use
change
the Black
the
Beauty
snare.
and everything, by the way, because that's a Ludwig.
I usually do. That is my favorite snare in the freaking world, man. I've never owned an acoustic Black Beauty, but just about every sample pack you get from either Steven Slate drums or Superior Drummer has a Black Beauty in it. That is the most versatile snare ever made, dude.
They're unbelievable.
I'm just like,
they
wow.
just growl. The whole reason is I can't afford a Black Beauty. I probably could if I sold all my other snare drums, but I'm not going to do that. But the whole reason I went out and I bought the it's the Rogers snare drum I use on my Burn cover, my Burn Deep Purple cover. And the whole reason I bought that snare drum is because it's kind of like a Black Beauty that you can get for $200. It's an older Roger, but it's an older Rogers snare drum, but it's brass, but it's not nickel over brass. It's chrome over brass. But the thing absolutely growls. I really want to get a Black Beauty someday. I'm so jealous of Johnson Drummer because he has a Black Beauty, and his brother, his brother bought it for him from his birthday. Dude, his brother's awesome.
That's the best brother ever.
I know. What did you get? Dude.
Wait.
Michael,
right?
What's that?
He lives in Florida, right?
Yeah, he lives in Florida. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to make a trip to Florida and come back with a Black Beauty. How about that?
I don't know. Maybe they're cheaper down there. I don't know. Because up here, they're really expensive. I got an ex-student of mine. He got a Black Beauty. And he sends me a text message. He's like, "This thing doesn't sound good. What are you talking about?"
Right.
You know. So I'm like, "All right, bring it by the school. I'll bang on it." I put it on a stand. I hit it. I'm like, "This thing sounds great. What are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, it rings too much." Well, all right. Stop thinking about what you hear on recordings, okay? Because they're actually doctoring all that stuff, you know? I'm like, put spoon gel on it. But then it deadens it too much. Well, dude, I don't know what you want. You have an $800 snare drum. This thing sounds incredible. He's like trying different kinds of heads, and apparently he just doesn't know what good is. All right. Johnson Drummer, I want to know what do you have on your brother that he bought that thing from you? Did you catch him doing something he shouldn't have done, like when you were younger? I don't know. All right. So, getting into the Superior Drummer or the Steven Slate or whatever you use to make your magic, all right, let's say you got your drum sound up, right? I know you could do like room sounds and correct with that kind of stuff too, correct?
Yeah.
So you could throw like a room mic in it. Now, can you actually like move the mic around in a snare drum? Like you could move it, like let's say, or with your room sound. Can you move a mic back or move a mic a little closer? Like, can you actually change that kind of stuff, or is it that customizable, or no?
I can't speak for Superior Drummer 3. I have Superior Drummer 2. What you can do is that you have a whole array of room mics to choose from. And that can be anywhere from a very close, tight ambience to a very far, deep room mic, you know, and they have a lot of spectrums in between that you can choose from. And each of those is assigned to its own individual fader, so you can pull ones out and put the other ones in and so forth. So you can get that really far sound, or you can get something really close. As far as the positional of the mic right on the snare, no, you really can't move that around.
Okay. So do you get your sounds up to Superior. Now, do you do any post-production on your drums in Reaper? I mean, are you adding reverb? I assume you're adding some compression. I mean, you don't do that right in Steven Slate's. You do that on Reaper?
I do it on Reaper. And some people will do it. I'm not really sure how far it goes in depth with being able to do it on Slate. I know that you can do that on Superior Drummer, but I choose to do it in Slate. I'm just getting this, or not Slate, Reaper. I choose to do it in Reaper because you're getting all, basically they're very raw samples. When you listen to the samples on their own, yeah, they sound great because they are absolutely the best drums recorded by the best engineers in the best studios, but they're still raw, totally uncompressed, unprocessed. They are just snap on the generic sound of snapping on a Black Beauty. You know, on its own, pretty plain. But you have to go in there and you have to add the right EQ, the right compression, the right right ambience around it. You know, if you want to slap back on it, you can add that in and stuff like that.
So they're not pre-EQ'd. So like the sounds are mostly a flat EQ, or
it's a flat.
It's a totally flat EQ. So
completely flat.
They are completely undoctored at all. So even like in the studio when they're recording those drums, they're not doing any kind of EQ at all. They're just slapping a mic on and hitting it and see what happens. Or
not on Superior Drummer, but on Stephen Slate, yes, they do process the drum samples a bit, but on Superior Drummer they don't.
Interesting. Chris, for the people newly tuning in, can you remind us who you guys are, please? Oh, Chris just hopped in the show. Chris would like to know who you are. Apparently he doesn't know you.
I'm the Trash Panda.
Are you a sad panda? I'm a sad panda.
Sexual
harassment panda.
We're dorks, Chris. We're dorks.
Watch a lot of South Park.
I am Jay from Beats by Jay, and this fella that's hosting me tonight is...
Well, I'm Jeff. Apparently you know, because you must subscribe to my channel. How the hell did you get here if you didn't? No, hold on, I gotta click on this. I gotta see. Go to channel. 1 second. Oh, this is Chris. I played a band with this guy. Oh, jeez. Chris Crandall, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Crandall, who actually is the nephew of Tommy Holland, who was actually a singer in Steppenwolf. So that's who Chris is.
I actually got the cough button that time. I was laughing so hard I spewed. Well, I didn't puke or anything, but wow.
That was really weird. I was not expecting that to happen. Who are you? Gosh, I totally lost my train of thought. Who are you
me
guys?
Too. Where were we?
We were talking about we were nerding out on some stuff. I think we were putting everybody to sleep.
Probably.
All right, so I got to address it. What are Beats by Jay's suggestions for YouTube growth of all that's out there? Because you are one of the bigger channels in the community, and you didn't cheat, right? You didn't cheat, did you?
I didn't cheat. God, if I was cheating in any way, I want my money back. Because growth is slow. No, that's my best advice, is no matter how slow the growth seems to be, don't let it discourage you.
It's still growth.
It's going to grow, and it's going to go through, it's going to ebb and flow. You're going to have some serious, like, spikes. You know, I mean, not like, you're going to have, like, 500 subs in one day, but you'll see, like, over the course of a few months, it'll go up, and then it'll go down, and then it'll go up again, and then down. I don't know. And like I said earlier, it changes with the algorithms that YouTube comes up with too. So you never know what to expect. But this is my viewpoint on it, and this is probably the best piece of advice I could have for number 2, is no matter how many subscribers, no matter how many views, no matter how many people are commenting on your stuff, as long as it doesn't matter if you have 10 or 10,000, play like you have 10 million, and you're going to see the growth continue, because you can't let that stuff bring you down, man. It's like I said, it's a highly saturated market right now. So you just got to do what you got to do and hope that the people that you're reaching are going to enjoy what you do, and you're going to find those folks. So even if there's, like I said, even if there's just 10, 20, 50, 100, play your ass off to that 100.
On that note, I think I'm going to cut this off, because damn, that was inspirational. Holy crap.
Shut up.
That was so... No, but you do actually, you make a really good point that I've really seriously been doing this now for about a year, and it can get discouraging. There was an incident that happened a couple months ago that you're aware of, I'm aware of, and I took a beating from that incident. I lost a ton of subs. Somebody even made a comment. I think it was Michael Johnson. He looked me up on Social Blade and he sent me a message. He goes, "Damn, Jeff, you've had a bad month," because I was losing like 2 or 3 subs a day. People were mad at me. You know, people were mad at me, and I don't. The whole point, when all that stuff was going on, I was kind of like, did I do the right thing? And you know what I'm talking about. Everybody knows what we're talking about. We're talking about the whole fake views thing. Jay, don't look at me like that. Don't smile like that. You know
what I do.
That was a really, really, like, it was a dark time for this community. It was. And I feel bad about some of the stuff that happened. I think perhaps it wasn't handled the best way possible. I think we were too secretive about a lot of it. But I think we did the right thing. What do you think?
I would agree. I think what had to be done was done. But here's the thing. It's like you said, it's done now. It's done. What needed to be said was said, and we're moving on from that. You know, what needed to be addressed, which the main thing was, you know, from the beginning about the fake views being sent to other accounts.
Yes.
That was the hot button with me. And that appears to have stopped. So I'm like, okay, all's good.
That was the hot button with me too. I think it was the hot button with a lot of people. And it's a shame the way things went down. I feel bad about the way things went down, but it had to be done. It had to be addressed. And what's done is done. And it appears that it really has stopped. And as far as now that it's stopped, I'm not going to address it anymore. And I think you're kind of the same way.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
I'm like, let's move on, you know,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I mean, you know, it is sad that, you know, there was some cases where, you know, there was some divisions and some love lost among friends. But, you know, maybe time will heal all wounds. We don't know. We'll see. You know,
Possibly.
I'm not holding any grudges against anybody, you know, so I'm just.
All right.
Well, maybe one.
No. Yeah.
Maybe one. But
speaking of that, let's talk about how do you spot a fake YouTube account? Because I know that I put this in a promo that we're going to talk about this. So what are Beats by Jay's tips and tricks for spotting a fake YouTube account? Because I know you got them.
On the spot. Oh, God, don't put me on the spot here. Okay, so spotting a fake YouTube account. Well, usually, number one, the first tip off is when you go to that account and there's absolutely no activity on it, no subscriptions, no videos, no nothing. Now that not necessarily in and of itself means that that's a fake account, but one of the biggest tip offs is if you do a reverse Google search on the profile picture and it takes you to something in Pinterest, you know. Pinterest or some Instagram model or whatever, you know, that's usually a pretty good tip off too. And number 3, I know I have a bunch, but just the number 3, which is another big one, is watch for verbiage. You know,
verbiage is a big one. Verbiage is a big one. Yeah,
you're going to see the same words used over and over and over again from the same accounts. So, yeah.
I think the who we're talking about has a flow chart, okay? And they have a flow chart.
Can't believe we're doing this.
Was the cover good? Yes or no? Say it was epic.
Oh, 4. One more. If you've noticed a bunch of people commenting on someone's video and they don't ever comment on anybody else in the drum community's videos, yeah, that's a pretty big sign too.
That's a fake account. That's a fake account. All right. I think and I'm going to leave it on that note. Hopefully nobody was watching at that. Oh, what do you got there? Are you doing a shot? All right.
Finishing the show off,
Finishing the show. Hey, you want to plug your show while we're here? for the five. Well, there's probably just one person that doesn't watch your channel that watches mine. But other than that, it was the guy I'm in a band with. Plug your show, man.
Okay, so next Saturday night, what were the times? 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Beats by Jay, will be taking live to the air for the Musing Musician Live. Inaugural broadcast coming on August 25th. Should be a ball. Won't be quite as chatty as this. There's going to be a lot of elements going on in it. There's going to be, music, discussion, tips, and so forth. So, yeah, there you go. Check it out.
And if you want to be on that show, what do?
Oh, if you want to be on the show? Well, you got to send an email giving me permission to use some of the videos on your YouTube channel. So send an email to beatsbyj74@gmail.com and just say, hey, you can use the stuff that's on my channel to put on your show. And it's a cross promotion thing. That way you get some exposure and I have material to put on my show. Nobody's making any money from it. I'm not either. And we all just have fun. That's what it's all about, guys.
All right. Sounds good, man. All right. So thanks for everybody for tuning in to the stream tonight. I had a blast. I probably shouldn't have drank so much because I really got to pee right now. So I'm going to log off, and I will see you guys next time. All right. Talk to you guys later, man.
Are we off the